I randomly came up to her and told her, "Do you think our marriage would survive the loss of a child?" And her honest answer was,
I don't know.
"Welcome everyone to, I guess this is going to be the inaugural episode, maybe we'll see,
Yeah, hopefully.
of doing it raw relationship goals on the Prospera TV network. If you are watching this after seeing the regular episode, welcome. Look at us. Look at us, Mom. We made it.
We
We
made
made it
it,
on TV.
Mom
Yay!
and Dad,
I don't know if you're watching it on
Grandma in heaven.
Roku or Amazon Fire, whatever. I don't even know where this is gonna go. I just know it's gonna be on TV.
Yeah,
But we made it on TV. Look at that. We made
so funny.
it. And we have amazing guests. If you haven't heard the previous conversation we had with them, go ahead and go to our YouTube channel and listen to it because, my God, did they share a lot that a lot of people will relate to. And they have so much to pour into every listener here and
Yeah,
impact. And just from hearing their story, I'm like, we relate to it a lot.
yeah, a lot.
And I'm sure a lot of people out there as well do. And it's such a powerful story. And we appreciate Tish and Mike for joining us here and speaking, speaking, and sharing their story, being vulnerable and being open and quote unquote doing it raw, I guess, this conversation to a certain extent. And we appreciate it. But again, welcome to the show now on Prospera TV Network. You guys are on TV. Look at that.
Yay! Hi,
All
And I
right.
mean, Tish is already on TV anyway,
Yeah,
so.
Tish is already on
Yeah.
TV.
But now she
Well,
brought her
congratulations.
husband. Thank you,
Yep, I'm with
Tish.
her today. Thank you for having us.
Of
Congratulations on your
course.
success and yes, your YouTube channel as well as now being on TV. You guys are amazing and helping so many couples. So thank you for having us on.
Thank you. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. And this part technically is a continuation of the conversation we had on
And
our
it's about to
regular
get very raw.
podcast. Yeah. So if you're watching this and you haven't seen anything else besides this episode, you're about to get just we're going into a deep dive already. But that's how we do it in the show. It's we do it raw. So we left out our conversation right in our regular podcast episode. We were getting into maybe the most challenging thing that you went through together in your relationship that tested it to, I'm not even sure what kind of level. Um, my wife and I have personally kind of how I am as a husband and kind of as her leader and the leader of this household is I either like to prepare and or prevent, right? So I think of things, no matter how morbid and dark they may be sometimes, to see like, hey, this may happen in our life, no matter how much we try to prevent it. Like we need to, like this may happen. And I don't even know how long ago, like half a year ago, maybe, or a year ago, I came up to my wife and told her, like, hey, random question. You could be.
This is why I need pillows because he randomly comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, I have a question," and then they're like
What's
deep,
this gonna
like
be?
conversation questions. So I'm like, "Okay, you should have prepared me."
Yeah. I randomly came up to her and told her, "Do you think our marriage would survive the loss of a child?" And her honest answer was,
I don't know.
yeah. And it didn't just stop there. She didn't just say, "I don't know." I know, like, all right, good to know. He kind of went into a little deeper conversation where I guess we walked through what may have happened, right? What, God forbid, could happen. I think the biggest thing is forgiveness, is forgiving, whether it was could potentially be seen as her fault or my fault that because of XYZ reasons, that's why we don't have a kid. And I think the blame game is one that can, I think that was kind of like the point that would quote unquote test us so much is either her blaming me or me blaming her. Because I can only imagine going through that, and that's something that you all went through, and by the looks of it, you made it through it, right? And I'm sure that it tested you so much, and it brought things up because yeah, it's something that no couple wants to go through, no parent wants to ever go through, and shouldn't go through it. But if you're willing and open to it, would you mind sharing kind of a little bit what happened, how that tested your relationship, and how you made it through such turmoil in your lives?
Yeah, we are open to that as
And I would say that not only test you as a couple, test you as individuals as well. I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
Yeah.
to go through a loss like that, because it's a devastating effect on a parent, a mother, father,
Mm-hmm.
just all around. That is. I don't wish it on anybody. I can tell you that. And my
Mm-hmm.
heart goes out to all those that have suffered the loss of a child, no matter how old they are. You know, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. That was your child. And you have
Yeah.
something to add with it, or
no. I mean, Moses, I think that is. I love how you ask Bri those questions and semi prepare if you can. I don't know, for lack of better words, but um, so our son and Ben is my son. Love
Mm-hmm.
him so much. He's not my biological son, but he's my son. And so I would like to turn it over to Mike so he can share a little bit about Ben and his wife, previous wife, and his Ben's biological mom, and kind of just share a little bit about the kind of kid baby Ben was, and the relationship that he had, and then how it kind of changed after he lost his biological mom.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it unfortunately we lost Ben in 2018. He was 25 years old. Um, Again, he was my only biological child, son,
Mm-hmm.
with my previous wife, who had passed in 2013. And you know, and Ben was 18 at that time when she passed. And like I had mentioned earlier, she had passed to suicide. Um, in 2011, Ben graduated high school. He was a very much a people person. He was a very much a boy. He was a boy,
Mm-hmm.
and I was very proud of him. Which most parents are going to be proud of their kids, but I was very proud of the type of boy that he was. He was very outgoing, a people person. Um, Wanted to try and do anything and everything. And unfortunately, his senior year of high school, he at that time was involved in a motorcycle accident, and how he
Mm-hmm.
survived that one, I really don't know, but he did. He fought through it. Now, it had ruined a lot of his career path and goals that he had set for himself to do. It The injuries that he received kind of just banished all of that stuff that he was headed for. But
Mm-hmm.
with the loss of his mother, and during this well, I mean, not go there yet, but during that time of that accident, his mother, who was a nurse as well, spent her life like any mother would do to care for and get him healthy again, which was a
Mm-hmm.
load of in itself. I can remember several times telling her, "Hey, you're his mom, not his nurse. You know, you need to let the nurses do the work, and you just be there for him." But and she did, and he basically was finally overcoming some of his injuries and regaining and moving forward. But along with that came an addiction that he had suffered with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, during all the surgeries and the pains, he kind of developed the addiction of the narcotics that were being prescribed to him. And during this is kind of in the time frame where the whole world was finally starting to notice, hey, doctors are just free writing scripts and narcotics to these kids and people, and for whatever reason, and they became, addicted to them. Opioids. And then once that little supply stopped off, they resort to other things. And unfortunately, Ben was introduced and resorted to street drugs, and one particular one was heroin. And I can say, thank God, that's before the fentanyl epidemic took place. But regardless, heroin is a monster within itself as well. And so we had put him through rehabs a couple times. He had gone into rehab and would come out. It'd last a while, and then he'd fall right back into it. So unfortunately, we struggled with that. And then the passing of his mother, which, that was very devastating to him, and just sent him pretty much in a spiral then too. Luckily, he was still able, it was tough, but he was still able to find, being the parent, had to do he was at an age of 18, 19 years old then, and had to really buckle down on the tough love with him. And very, very hard to do as a parent, but it was what needed to be done. A parent or any person's not going to heal as bad as you may think or want. Nobody is going to heal another person with their addiction. It's all on them. They've got to want to change. So, just kind of move through this a little quicker. He had gone through the rehabs, had got out, lost his mother. He went to Abilene.
Well, prior to that, I'm going to interject, because this might also help couples in terms of blended families. And I mean, you can go so many different directions, but then I come along.
Yes, that's true.
And for me, being a mom and having gone through the loss of my mother, and then my dad bringing this lady friend over, I know how, even as an adult child, how that made me feel. Even as an adult child, I thought, what is that woman doing in my mom's house? And, so I thank God for that, because when I came into Ben's life, then I already knew how he may be feeling, and I wanted to address that, because I was the woman that I saw my dad have in his home, and I was thinking, don't want you here. Well, I met with Ben when we went to lunch, and I chatted with him, and I wanted him to know, I know exactly how you're feeling. I think at one time prior to this meeting, I told Mike that I wanted to get a bike, and Mike said, I have a bike. And it was his wife's bike, Ben's mom's bike. And he and Ben brought it over to my home, and I got on it, and I rode it like maybe a little, maybe not even around the full circle. I rode it halfway. I turned right back around, because the Lord was like, get off the bike. And it wasn't for me. It was for Ben. The Lord was like, get off the bike. And so I was like, okay, you just hear and you do. And so I turned right back around, didn't even get all the way around the cul-de-sac. And I was like, I'm good riding the bike. And so I met with Ben, and when we had lunch, I told Ben that I know exactly how he felt. The Lord told me exactly how he was feeling when my butt hit that seat of that bike. It was the same feeling that I got when I saw this woman in the seat of the passenger side of my dad's truck. I was like, even again, as an adult woman, I was like, what are you doing in my mom's seat in my dad's truck? And so I told Ben, I'm sorry. I should never have even sat on your mother's bike. I'm not here to, first of all, I know I never could replace your mother, and I'm not here to do that. And if you need to talk to me about anything, I'm here because of all the different sort of examples that I gave him in the way that I know that he was feeling, and acknowledging that feeling and acknowledging that it's okay to feel that way. I
Yep.
understand. I understand your feelings, and I want you to know that I know how you're feeling. And if there's anything that I can do, please let me know. And I'm sure at that point he's probably thinking, well, if you could just get out of my dad's life, that would be great. But I want him to know that I'm here and I'm not trying to do anything. And the door is always open and always has been. And then we went through the, I found out that Ben was an addict, and it tested our relationship before it even tested our marriage, because we weren't married at the time, but that he was an addict. And, I had 2 kids that I was raising on my own. And I told Mike that, Ben is welcome to live. We are welcome to blend this family and all live together and whatnot. But if there are ever drugs in my home, somebody's going to have to leave. It's either going to be Ben or Mike and Ben, because I have children that I do not want to subject that kind of exposure.
And I didn't want that either.
Right. And he agreed. And unfortunately, that happened. I found foil and some other things in the bathroom trash, and I told Mike about it. And then Mike had the conversation.
And of course, deeply, and made him aware of it. And, but what do you tell an addict? They don't care. They're all they're worried about is feeding their addiction. And luckily he didn't live with us, but he would come and visit with us. And so that just immediately, I'm like, hey, we're not going to have this here, period. And, and I also had to keep in mind thinking he's my son, and he does need his dad or someone, especially your dad when you've lost. But I still had to keep firm with, hey, we're not going to have that here. We're not going to do that. You're not going to subject this family, her children to any of that. And we had to play it that way. And then
Ben and I had a great relationship, and he also had a great relationship with his siblings, my children. I mean, he's my son, and he was their brother. And I had deep conversations with Ben. He would lay in my bed in my room, and I would hold his hand, and he would cry, and we would talk to each other. And I understood that he did not want to be an addict. He did not want to be addicted. He wanted to quit. He wanted to, just like I'm sure most addicts, right? And he wanted to get clean, and he was making the efforts and strides to do that. And unfortunately burnt bridges at different people's homes. And then it got really tough, where Mike had to make a tough love decision.
Yep. And at that point in time, that's when, unfortunately, I was like, you run every avenue you've got for help, shelter. I mean, people gave him a job, gave him a car, gave him this, gave him that, and he just wasted all of it. So what wound up happening with him is we put him on the streets. It's like, you're going, the only place I can tell you can go would be the homeless shelters out on the streets of Fort Worth, downtown Fort Worth, and the night shelters.
And that tested our relationship. So we're talking about testing our relationship, even that. Our relationship was tested in the beginning when he was doing drugs. It was tested whenever he had burned all the bridges, unfortunately, for Sweet Ben. And it started to test our relationship in that we questioned ourselves. We questioned each other. Are we doing the right thing? Maybe, I don't know. It was just
It was tough.
Yeah, it was a very, very difficult time. Mike and I would say kind of grew apart a little bit in that we were so immersed in trying to figure out what is the right thing to do for our son. What is the right choice? What are the right decisions? Is this right? Is this wrong? Like you said, we blamed ourselves. We didn't blame each other, but we did. I know I did. I blamed myself, thinking, what could I do? What can I do more? Is it me? Should I just get out of this relationship? So it grew. There was a little bit of a wedge in there because we were so focused on what is the right thing to do for Ben.
But in the end, that's what needed to happen. I think what you call rock bottom. I don't know what you're going to do, son. You've got to do this yourself. I can't fix it for you. I've done and done and can't. And unfortunately, this is the situation you're finding yourself in. So that happened while he was on the streets. I don't know, how long was he? Probably a good 2 months or 3 months. He was in the shelters. During that time, he finally got on his own, he finally got into another rehab facility. And upon coming out of that rehab facility, they offered options for him. And the best option for him was to get out of this environment, get to another place away from here. Unfortunately, but he went to Abilene. He moved from Fort Worth to Abilene, went into a sober living facility, stayed there. And during that time, he met a girl who was down in Abilene at Abilene Christian University in college. And they had a relationship that formed and began. And so while he was still struggling a little bit, not so much of course you struggle with addiction, but, he was still trying to find his way. He's in a new place and not knowing. Thank God for Jessica that was there in their two relationship. But this is where it comes to the point to where we lost Ben.
So about 1,000% of the time, I shared this at the Surrender to Rise 2025 event with people there. But so 1,000% of the time, anytime we would get a phone call or Ben would call, Mike would always handle the phone call or handle the situation. Ben was in trouble or he was in jail or whatnot before he made the decision to go to Abilene to get clean. And he would always handle it all the time. And, Ben respected both of us, but Ben respected his dad. That's his dad. And so Mike would always make the calls. But God is so good that prior to this, I was doing some research. Prior to even any of this, I was doing some research on interviewing moms who had lost their sons, specifically their sons. And that was the Lord. I had no clue that Ben was going to pass. I think at some time, though, during our relationship, we both had the conversation that when the phone rang, it was very scary because you just sort of
didn't know what was coming.
And
didn't know what was coming.
That could be an accident, could be
overdose.
Yes.
I mean, never knew what was coming.
And so God, as sweet as he is and good, he's so good. And I was preparing to do a podcast to interview, this is all prior to all of this, to interview moms who had lost their sons. And the research included things to say, things not to say to someone who's lost a child and things like that. So I was reading and absorbing and listening to the Lord and praying about this podcast with these moms and prayed with them, prayed for them as they were getting ready to join me live.
because we had, not only was she preparing herself for these podcasts, we had several friends, several people, acquaintances that had lost children.
Yes.
Mm.
And so on September 28th of 2018, I was at work. I worked at my church, and I got off at noon on Fridays, and which was blessing. So I get home on Friday afternoon that day, and there was a card in the door, and it was from the Abilene Police Department, but Crowley Police Department, obviously, the town that we lived in, had left it in the door and said that we needed to call Abilene Police Department. And police pulled up and they said, "Hey, we just want to make sure you got the card that was in the door." And I was like, "Yeah, do you know what happened?" And they said, "No, you just need to call." And I said, "Okay." So I called Mike and told Mike that there was a card, and he said, "Do you want me to call?" You know, you never think the worst. And I go, "You know what? No, I'm off already. I'll just call." And again, that's the Lord preparing. His hand was all over it. And I said,
Mm.
"You know, you're still at work. I'm off. I'll call. I'll see what's going on, and then I'll call you back." And he said, "Okay." So I called. They told us that they had found our son Ben and his girlfriend Jessica in the ditch early that morning. It looked like a motorcycle accident that looked like he had overcorrected, and they crashed into a culvert and died instantly. And then the next phone call I made was to our pastor, to our small group, and to one of the women that was going to be on the podcast, and asked her to pray for me. We had just lost our son. And she
Mm.
was like, "No way." And because all this time I'm preparing to interview them, and God is preparing me for this phone call, this very moment. Sorry. And so I called Mike and I said, "Hey, you know, trying to act like it was just, he just had gotten in trouble." Um, but I said, "Hey, babe." And he was like, "What's going on?" And I said, "Well, you probably should come out." I really honestly don't remember the whole conversation. I honestly don't. I think I was in shock. I just remember telling him that he needed to come home. And the worst of it all,
And I knew.
he knew.
Mm.
And the worst of it all was when Mike walked in the door. And he just looked at me, and I just looked at him, and don't remember again. I just remember seeing Mike fall to his knees. And he's a big guy. He's a tall, big guy. Fall to his knees, and just
I didn't know
having-
how, what, or why, or how, but I knew.
Yeah.
And especially
Yeah.
when I walked in the door and I saw her, I knew.
But a gift to us was that Mike had a toxicology report done. He wanted to know, because Ben had been on the journey to being clean and was clean, and had met who we knew was going to be his wife. He brought her home. We met her. We were just like so excited. We knew. They took a trip together, and he was clean. He was not intoxicated. There was no
alcohol,
drugs,
drugs, or anything
nothing in his
in his
system.
system.
And so, in terms of our marriage and how it tested us,
Thank you for watching Prospera TV Network. We hope you're enjoying the show. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
so in terms of our marriage and how it tested us,
It was the loss.
yes. And, you know, I guess scientists, psychologists, psychiatrists, people say that there are stages of grief. There's the stage of this, there's the stage of that, there's the stage of that. But when you have two parents going through grief, you don't go in this order or these stages that they have laid out or lined out or a guideline or whatever. We were at different stages of grief at different times, and that tested our marriage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, and I like to kind of use it or phrase it as, well, a lot of people will come at you, say, well, you need counseling and you need this and you need that. You need to, he's at peace. And I mean, so many different things that you hear during the loss of a loved one or whatever. But, you know, and I'm more of the type, like, I'm tired of hearing that. I don't need nobody telling me what I need. I'm dealing with it the best I can. And also in my mind, no, I had two different roads I could go down. I could either deal with it in a good way, or I could deal with it in a bad way, which of course the bad way is you pretty, in my case, I could drink myself to death. To just really become,
to a certain extent, it becomes your identity. You become a parent who lost their kid. Yeah.
Well, before you keep going, let me ask you this. Do you think, I mean, I'm pretty sure the answer is yes, but do you think had you and Tish not been together, you know, not had a relationship and you still would have been single, do you think you would have handled it differently? Do you think that, you know, not having that spouse next to you going through something so drastic, like I'm pretty sure it helps, even though, you know, it tested your relationship, like even just having somebody who you know you trust and you love and you have this beautiful relationship with, like, to help you through this whole, you know, thing that you're going through.
Most definitely. With no doubt in my mind, I myself probably wouldn't be here today. I doubt it. Yeah.
That's rough to hear.
Yeah. I ask you that because I don't talk about this a lot, and I'm going to get emotional, but I see it a lot in my mom. My mom has lost 2 children. And I know for a fact she's alone. She's not alone, but she doesn't have a partner. She hasn't had a partner for many years. And I know for a fact that she is extremely depressed because of it. But she also doesn't accept help. I'm sure she's trying to do the best she can. But to me, it's like if she had somebody next to her, like, you know, it would be so much different. Like, I don't know how to help her. I don't think anybody does, because we don't even understand that kind of pain. Like, we can't understand it. Like, and that's why when I heard Tish talk about it, I was like, it kind of gave me a feeling of like feeling more, I don't know, empathy for my mom in a sense, because I tend to be like, well, if you don't want help, like, what am I gonna do? You know what I mean? Like, if you don't want to change, what can I do? But then now I'm like, yeah, like that's not something I should be telling her, definitely. But go ahead, what were you gonna say?
Well, you know, I say that knowing that, or me saying that I possibly wouldn't be here now if I didn't have Tish in my life at that time, because I know during those times, and we've made drastic changes as individuals since that time, but have always somewhat been a drinker, and I pretty much probably would have just drank myself to death, most likely. I don't think I would have put myself in position of taking my own life or anything, but I'd probably be a bum on the street myself or dead and gone from alcoholism, most likely.
And I think too that, you know, in terms of being couples and it testing our relationship, we went through the different stages of grief at different times, and
Yeah.
it got to be where there was a year that it was probably the worst year. I started wondering, you know, the enemy likes to creep in and makes you start wondering, I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if we're going to
Yeah.
make it. This is not good anymore. And so Mike was, rightly so, I have to say that, very short with me our final year. You know, you've lost a child, but I lost a child too. And he was very short and snippy with me. We were very distant. And I remember him snapping at me for the final time. And I said, that's it. You have done nothing but yell at me, snap at me. Can you hear us?
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
I don't know what happened.
And this isn't fair because I lost my son too. And we both just lost it, started crying. And Mike, like he said earlier, wasn't intentionally trying to be mean to me. I mean, he was grieving the loss of a son. And I know that. I knew that. And I took it for as long as I could. But going back to what you say all the time, Moses, is communication is key. And
Mm-hmm.
how do you communicate that kind of pain? It's we still wake up daily with it. But I think that was just kind of it scratched the surface when I told Mike, this isn't working. This is how it's going to continue to be.
And she was hurting too.
Bad.
Mhm.
I made the funeral arrangements, and it killed me. It killed me to have to do that. I mean, he was my son too, and
Yeah.
Ben and I had a great relationship and a great bond, and Mike and I were just going in different directions. But we had community, we had God, and we went to church the first Sunday after Ben died, and that was that Sunday after the Friday that he had passed. And we were just like, you want to go? And we were lost.
Mm-hmm.
We were just lost. And do you want to go to church? And he said yes. And the community at our church, they just rallied around us, prayed for us, prayed over us. Our small group, our Bible study group, knew what was going on between us. And we just are grateful that we had people praying for us. Prayer changes things for sure. So.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and even when she said that to me, I mean, of course, I was oblivious because I was grieving as well, but I didn't take into consideration that she was grieving as well. And,
Yep.
you know, and we'd lost touch with each other a little bit. And thank goodness she said something. I mean,
Yeah.
who knows, maybe I'd have come back around and then realize it. But, you know, like they say, you know, one in couples, you know, there's one to lift the other up when they're down. And
Yeah.
she did that for me during that time. And then I realized too that, hey, I know you're hurting too, and I'm sorry.
And we went through a rough patch because when you lose a child, it changes who you are. It changes who you are. And it changed our marriage because I lost and grieved also, not only grieved the loss of my child, my son, I grieved the loss of my husband, the man that I married, the man that I fell in love with. I still love him and I'm still in love with him, but I grieved Hopefully, this will help people in relationships. But I grieved the loss of the man that I married, and we we had to relearn how to communicate. We had to relearn. Um,
Because she told me I'd changed, and I denied it at first. I'm
did.
like, I haven't changed. It was almost getting a fight over her telling me you've changed, and then me telling her, no, I haven't changed.
And but the good thing about that is that everyone in a marriage, whether you've lost a child or not, you evolve, you change. We're not the same people we were when we first got married. We're not the same people that we were when we dated. We have evolved, we have changed. And regardless if you lose a child or not, get ready, because your spouse is not the same person and will not be the same person, I hope, when you got married, because God is transforming us on the daily, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we are completely different. And when we were grieving the loss of Ben, we numbed our feelings with alcohol, and we could have both easily become alcoholics. And because it's an indescribable pain. You don't want to feel it. You don't. If you can imagine, if you're a parent and you can imagine losing one of your littles and trying to feel that pain, it is one that you will, well, I'll speak for ourselves, one that we tried to avoid. And then we came to the decision that, okay, I'm done drinking. This is stupid. We were weekend drinkers, and I took advantage of that because I did not want to feel the loss of Ben. And then our children, Tristan and Caroline, suffered a lot with the loss of their brother. They grieved. And
we were wrapped up in our own grief.
Yeah, it's a horrible thing. It's a horrible thing. And you do change as a person. And so I lost my husband, but we relearned, and I love him. He's amazing. And
I love you.
He's the good man that he was when we got married. He's the good man that he was when we got married. So.
Oh, thank you guys so much for just being so open and vulnerable and sharing this part of your journey in your marriage, because I mean, I know it wasn't easy and you can tell, but you guys just fought through it and were there for each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we appreciate you guys sharing, because it is indescribable, and I can only imagine how going through that may feel. Because even me thinking about it, God, it brings up all these feelings that I don't even want to feel. I don't want to neglect. But at the same time, again, because I'm the leader of our marriage and of this household, it is a possibility, right? I can't be naive to the fact that, hey, one day it is a possibility. I think it came to mind. I don't know if you guys have seen the movie The Shack. That movie broke me.
Oh Lord,
I have three
I can't watch
girls.
that now. Just knowing.
Yeah,
we've seen it and watched it, but I don't want to rewatch it just for that.
yeah, and that movie, we've seen it twice, and I don't want to see it again, because just having the thought of that being one of my little girls and going through that pain,
me
I
having
know
the
that I
thought of
would
what
be
that
like,
man's going through.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
So it's a whole different picture, kind of like you seeing it and losing the child, and then I look at it, looking at what that father, the agony he was going through during that time. I mean,
It
anybody
reminds
now,
you, right?
Yeah, anybody that I see here, and it's not a fun spot to be in when you see somebody suffering with the loss of a child, or for that matter, someone that loves their spouse so much too. The pain that they're in and going through. It's
I mean,
tough.
we've had dreams of that happening. We had dreams of where I lost my wife, and I woke up crying, and same deal with my kiddos. And it's again, it's a feeling that nobody should ever feel. However, the fact that life is completely different from what we hope for it to be, and God has different plans. We have to do our best, or at least I try to do our best by having these conversations, right? And I think that if anyone who's listening, at least my takeaways from this conversation is if you are ever going through that, uh, I mean, you already had a great foundation in the first place, right? Of being able to get through this together, because a lot of people don't have that. But community is one, is being surrounded by people who are helping you through it,
Mhm.
by pulling you, right? Not necessarily pushing you. Maybe sometimes you do need a push, uh, but pulling you, right? Reminding you, like, hey, there's more to life than this just event, um, and the importance of continuing going in their memory as well,
Mhm.
and turn it into something beautiful. And I always reference the crucifixion of the Lord. Is like, look at the crucifix. Before it was horrifying, it was death, it was evil, it was blood and gore and all these things, and just the mere fact that he was crucified on such a thing, it turned into something beautiful. It turned into a symbol of love, of hope, of forgiveness. And I think that's, if we were made in His image, that's what He made us to do. Is like, hey, turn a lot of the stuff that a lot of people, and that is bad and feels bad, right, and find a way to turn it into something beautiful, which you guys are doing now, which is amazing. So thank you very much for joining us, for sharing your story, and for being vulnerable and open, and to sound cliche, I guess, to put a pun into it, for doing this conversation raw.
Of course.
Of course.
Well, thank you both for having us. We hope
Yes.
that we've helped others, and
Most definitely hope
I'm
that
pretty
somebody.
sure. I mean, I'm pretty sure because you've helped us a
Yeah.
lot. So I feel like this conversation is going to transform a lot of marriages in a way.
Hmm.
Pray it does.
yes, I mean, like we said, I mean, people are you change and evolve every day, and your spouse is changing, and so are you. And the best thing to do is just to support them in that evolution. And
Mm.
we do, and thank God that even from the last podcast that we were talking about, you have to learn how to communicate and
Yeah.
um, just take those steps. It's when you know that you found the one that God has led you to, there's no stopping us. We
Hmm.
will conquer whatever it is together, and we will continue to
Yeah.
communicate. And the beauty from all of that, I echo what you say, Moses. I say it all the time. There's beauty in life and death, and
Hmm.
beauty in life and death of our Lord Jesus Christ. And there is beauty in the death of the passing of our son Ben, in that he challenged me to live life no matter how old you get. Live life. And he also challenged our marriage in that we have turned we both stopped drinking. We're
Hmm.
healthy, we're happy, we communicate, we
Mhm.
celebrate, and we know that we can face any challenges and
Mhm.
conquer them together.
Beautiful.
Oh my
Great.
gosh, yes. Thank you so much, you guys. And it was such a pleasure to meet you, Mike.
Nice to meet you folks
Yes, it
as
was.
well, and really appreciate the opportunity to come on and share with you guys, and um, be happy to come again if you ever would like us to.
Isn't he a
Definite. Yeah,
sweetie?
we.
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
Thank
Yeah,
y'all
we
for
can
having
we can
us.
talk for hours. Of course, yeah, definitely. We can talk for hours about many different topics, because I know there's a testimony and learnings in everything that we've been through together, as
Hmm.
couples. Uh, but yeah, definitely we'll love to have you guys on again. In the meantime, anything you guys want to kind of plug as far as your shows, anything you're working on your end?
So I have a channel as well. I'm sure that you guys may, if you watched the first segment on Doing It Raw on YouTube, the original YouTube channel. I have a podcast, No Judgment Here with Tish Ross, the podcast, and you can find it on YouTube. You can also find it here on Prosperity TV Network. And Mike also has a full-blown country. It's called Pretty and Pooch on YouTube. And
That's just a funny. We're funny sometimes.
I'll check it out.
We'll pull some kind of antic, and it's spur of the moment stuff for us on that one. But yeah, Pretty and Pooch is a fun one.
There you go.
Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, again, thank you very much for being on with us and sharing your story and being vulnerable, and again, doing it raw with us. And any last thoughts?
No, I'm so excited that you guys were here. This was amazing. Like, time just flew, right?
Yeah.
It did.
It was beautiful. Perfect. Awesome. Well, hope that you guys enjoy this show, that you guys enjoy the conversation with Tish and Mike. And if you want to reach out to them, just find them on the socials. They are more than open to communicate. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or you just want to give them feedback of how amazing their story is and how grateful you are that you got to hear it. Because we don't know who's listening to this, right? We don't know if maybe you're going through this or not. However, I know that's the reason why we're doing this, is because someone out there is needing the story. So thank you again very much, Tish and Mike, for coming on with us, sharing your story. And we look forward to seeing you guys again the next time.
Of course.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for having us.
Thank you.
Of course. All right. See you all on the next episode.
Cut.
Cut.
This is your Prospera era, where dreams align with grace, abundance flows like rivers. You've stepped into your place. Rise, reign, and remember, you were born to shine. Welcome to your moment, Prospera, it's time.
We hope you enjoyed today's show on Prospera TV Network. Make it a point to visit us on YouTube and catch all your favorite shows anytime you want. Interested in hosting a show of your own? Or advertising your business on our network? Contact Elena Rodriguez.